This is Joseph Drust, and welcome back to another episode of Ask ZBrush. So we had a question sent in asking, how can I make a brush always have RGB disabled? So to start off, I just have ZBrush loaded up, and I just have a polysphere here loaded in. So the question is asking about the RGB option, which lives at the top here, and having it always disabled for a brush. So as an example of this, let's go to the brush palette over here. I'm just going to open this up, and let's say I select the clay brush here. Now when I select the clay brush, you'll notice at the top here that this RGB option is toggled on. And with this on, it's going to apply poly painting to your model as you sculpt. So let's say every time I select the clay brush, I just want to apply sculptural details and not painting. So I have to come up here and disable this RGB option and then sculpt on my model. So is there a way that I can always have this RGB option turned off when I select the clay brush? So the answer to this is yes, and all you have to do is resave the brush. So options such as RGB, Z-Add, and even the dynamic option will be stored on brush save. So you can come up here and change these options and then resave the brush, and those options will be remembered next time you select that brush. So to do this, we just need to make sure we have the brush that we want to modify selected. We need to make sure our options are set correctly up here. And then we need to go to the brush palette and then click the Save As button. Now, when you click Save As, this is going to take you to the ZBrush ZStartup Brush Presets folder. And in here, you can store custom brushes. Now, the clay brush here is not a custom brush. So it is a default brush that ships with ZBrush. So in order to have that RGB option toggled off, we need to overwrite the existing clay brush that ZBrush is using. So since this is a default brush, we need to navigate to the ZBrush directory. We then need to locate the ZData folder, and then we need to locate the brush presets folder. So the directory for default brushes is ZBrush 408, ZData, and brush presets. Now it is usually ill-advised to modify anything inside the ZData folder. However, since the clay brush is a default brush, we need to navigate to this brush presets folder in ZData and just save over top of it. So I'm going to locate the clay brush here, and then now I'm just going to go down to the bottom and click save. Now it's going to just tell me that it already exists and I want to replace it, so I'm going to click yes. And now I have successfully changed the option for the clay brush and resaved over top of the existing brush. So now if I restart ZBrush here, and after it restarts, you can see I'm back to just having that standard brush selected. And now if I navigate over to the brush palette over here and open this up and now select that clay brush again, you'll see that the RGB option is no longer enabled. So we have successfully changed the option here to be off and then resaved that clay brush. So now when I select this clay brush again, it will no longer have RGB active. So if you have any other questions related to ZBrush pipelines or processes, please use the hashtag AskZBrush on Twitter. Happy ZBrushing!